if he emerges as a guy that can finish games like that, I think there's some things in his arsenal that we're going to be able to add and help him with. I know the big story is, well, he pitched in Colorado. To me, that's a lot. I mean, after managing in Reno for 3 years, and you have that mentality, talking to Buddy Black, he wanted the ball all the time, and nothing ever fazed him out there. And the pitchers that I had in Reno, when they entered games, when they wanted the ball, when they wanted to pitch, and nothing fazed them there, they just understood they had to keep making pitches. They became better major league players. So, I think a lot of that will happen with Carlos and being out of there. Really excited to have him.
How do you see the middle infield right now? Sorry, based on who's you currently have, if it's Urshela,
Right.
Heathfield, Fletcher. I mean, how did that kind of line up in your perspective?
Sammy, the best way I can answer that is I got asked the same question when we traded for Gio. I don't have to make a lineup on December 6th. I mean, I certainly sit and brainstorm and do that a lot. But there's so many things that are going to happen before opening day. The fact is we have a lot of options. We have a lot of depth, and it's something that we've struggled with in the past when we've had injuries. And not that you don't plan to have injuries, but the fact is that they happen, and we know we're deeper, we know we're stronger, we know at full strength how deep our lineup is and how much it's lengthened us out. So I'm just excited to have all of them. Gio and I have a great relationship from the Yankees. He FaceTimed right away, and it was a pretty cool call. Knew Hunter from his days here in San Diego, managed against him in the minor leagues. Tyler obviously pitched against us this year. Being around the teams that I have, and you create relationships with people, so you ask questions and you find out about guys. And these all three are good dudes in the clubhouse for one, and obviously they're going to help us out a lot on the field as well.
You obviously made some changes with the coaching staff. I guess what are your thoughts on the staff that you have put together?
Yeah, I mean, and difficult ones. They really were. I mean, there's some. There were some friends I had to have difficult conversations with, but at the end of the day, I just felt like for us to be at the top of our game, for our hitters, for our pitchers, for our defensive players, our game planning and everything going forward, I was given the opportunity to do this, and you always have had those thoughts in your head, the people that you want with you, and that didn't really change. I mean, there was a lot of guys that impressed me while they were there but there's people that I've worked with before that I just know that I know how they run the room. I know how the players respond to them, and it was just a comfort level for one, but I know how talented they are as well. Being around Marcus for the 4 years I was in New York, certainly we were close friends, but I'll give you a line that I'll use. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to keep friends. I'm here to help my players become better and win baseball games. And that's really what went into my decision making. As difficult as those kinds of conversations were, I know we're better right now because of the guys that we brought in.
Perry said you had a dinner with David Fletcher, I guess, the other day, and he shared with you a lot of things that he felt like he's done differently or improved. Or can you tell us why you?
Yeah, I think players throughout their career, you're constantly having to change and make changes either with your body or mentally, and it was a challenging year for Fletch. The injury he had is a very difficult one to deal with the core injury, and I think he understands he needs to add a little bit to his body, add some flexibility, but also add some strength, and so not something that has been his strong point in the past, but. For a dinner with Fletch, I've gone around and I've met with all of our players and tried to reach out to each one. And in the same towns, I was in Chicago for a football game a few weeks back and took Max out to dinner. And he's in a great place right now. It's just those relationships we create, those last 3 months of the season that I thought were invaluable to our group. You want to keep those going, whether it's through text messages and getting some face-to-face time with some guys. And I really think that's important as you guys got to know me, over the last few months. For me, that's huge. That clubhouse and that group and the relationships we've all created, I want them to keep being strong. I know the players have text chains and things like that, and we do as coaches, and then I do with my players. And it's just the way I think that I just think it's something that makes us stronger.
So with Fletcher, it's physical stuff, not like his change of swing or anything.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's. I think they're always, making efforts to change your swing, to get better with your swing. But I think we saw, glimpses of what the old Fletch was there towards the end of the year. But at the end of the day, adding a little bit of strength to him as well is going to help him out quite a bit. He looked good too. Shoulders looked a little broad. He just got back from Italy too, so it might have been the wine and the cheese he just ran around.
Phil, can you talk to me about just season and some of the things that you would like to see him do?
Right. Well, first, I mean, I think everybody that was around us last year knows how I feel about Joe, and the relationship that I have with him is something that I feel really good about. I love the kid. I love his work ethic. I love the way he goes about his game. He's a talented guy, but he's 22 years old, and he was rushed here, and really hasn't had one place to play to get better and create those valuable relationships with a coach, or where he can be comfortable and get better. And we're going to continue that all off season. I know he's been going into the complex 3 times a week and still doing his outfield drills, which I know that sounds only 3 times a week, but in the off season, really players aren't doing stuff on the field baseball wise. A lot of guys don't start hitting until about now. Certainly aren't doing defensive stuff until about now or into January. And Joe just continued that from the end of the season. He knows how important that is for him, for his career. Love him. Where it puts us right now, refer back to the question I answered earlier. Those things will play themselves out as we get closer to opening day. But I certainly expect Joe to have a hand in a lot of the success we're going to have next year.
How have you improved the consistency as far as him getting that consistency to be able to grow?
Repetition. It really is for Joe. It's repetition. It's getting to play. It's being in one place around people that he cares about and feels comfortable with. He's somebody that's, the guys are starting to, he mixes in well in our locker room. And I'm not sure that was the case in the past. And I think he fits in great with our group. And he's a big part of this. He really is. And he's a talented guy. I mean, if you look around our room, I'll put him right up there with Mike as far as the talent level goes, and it's just a matter of putting things together. Am I saying he's Mike Trout? Absolutely not. I would never compare players or make those comparisons. I don't like doing that. But you watch him take BP, he hits balls farther than anybody. You watch him throw in the outfield, he throws better than anybody. Threw 95, 96 in high school. You watch him field balls in the outfield. You watch him run the bases, and he's in the elite category in all those levels. And how it's going to be all put together on the field at one time, I think it's going to come at some point, and you're going to see a really, really good major league player.
Shohei, his agent said that sounds like he'd be open to pitching in a 5-man rotation, and I'm curious.
Who's that?
Shohei Ohtani.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about Joe.
Oh, no, yeah. Well, I mean, pitching high school, so
Yeah,
I
right
guess
now,
it's
yeah.
like...
Mine had a scoop there. You never know.
Another
Yeah.
2-way.
But I mean, I know you guys probably haven't made any kind of decision on that, but is that something that is part of the conversation that you guys will have about, possibly using 5-man rotation, if he's open to it in particular?
Right. I think it probably depends, if there's another acquisition, if there's another guy that emerges in that 6th spot. Are we going to go with a 5-man rotation? I would tell you my answer is no, but I think Shohei's going to pitch on that day as often as possible.
So he'll go every 5 days as often as possible?
Yeah, I don't want him to have those extra days unless we feel like he needs it. There's some things that pop up throughout the year. If he needs an extra day, do it a day off or whatever. But if there's a day off, I'm going to skip somebody to get Shohei all his innings. I don't want it to come down to the end of the season, and not necessarily just for personal accolades or anything like that. The fact is it's Shohei Ohtani, and I want him out there every time he's able to pitch. But I also don't want to come down to the last series of the season like we did last year, and he needed 4 innings to qualify for an ERA title or a per strikeout per inning title or anything like that. He needs to be used more than that, and we will.
Phil, do you have
Have you talked to Anthony Rendon? How is he feeling?
Yep.
As far as his health?
Talked to Anthony quite a bit. As you know, he left the season last year very healthy. Kind of, excuse me. We got him back out on the field those last couple of days without having any rehab starts, with just doing stuff in practice leading up to that, which is not normal. But it was something for him, for his peace of mind, to know that he was ready to go. And then now he's spending the winter just adding to his body strength, adding to what he can do. He's never felt better. I think this year's, for Anthony's mind more than anything, was huge. For us, what I saw in him, when he had his surgery in May, he could have packed it in and gone home to Texas and done his rehab there. But he chose to stay with our group. And you guys knew where we were, record-wise. But he chose to stay there and be part of the guys. He was a leader amongst that room. He helped a lot of the guys. I mentioned Joe earlier. Their bond became really strong. And I think he made a lot of guys around him better and emerged as that leader in that room, which was I think we needed, and I think he'll continue to do that. And he's on the field every day. It makes it even better, right? And I'm looking forward to having a healthy Anthony for the entire season. I mean, obviously, he's a big part of this, and we missed out on a lot of things those last 2 months and still were able to play right around 500 baseball, and that was without Mike the entire time. That was without Anthony the whole time. Jared Walsh wasn't out there. Even some veteran pieces we added to help when guys went down. Matt Duffy were hurt. Fletch was hurt. Just knowing, having all those guys back on top of what we've added now, it's pretty exciting to think about what we can do.
Phil, do you have a total tally on how many of your guys will be in the WBC, and could it be a little disruptive with so many absences that time?
Yeah, we were just talking about that, and I think we're right around 12, and a couple coaches. I'm not worried about it at all. Everything what I've told those guys, what I've told some other interviews here, couldn't be more happy for those guys. One of the highlights of my career was in college, getting to play in the Olympics in Barcelona, wearing USA across my chest, and for these guys to have that opportunity to represent their countries in this atmosphere, go have at it. I would never step in their way, tell them to do anything different other than to go out and compete their ass off for their countries. And, it's an awesome experience, and I'm looking forward to being able to coming home from work during the day and what we do in the mornings and watching baseball games at night and watching my guys get after it. I met the general manager for Team Japan last night, and I joked around. I said, "You heard Shohei," but I just said, "No, you let him play. You let him do what he wants." And obviously, there's no one I trust more with his body than Sho. But all those guys, I'm looking forward to playing. I'm looking forward to hearing the stories while they're there and when they get back, and then being a part of our group. So it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of these guys, and looking forward to them having those experiences and coming back and sharing them with us.
What have you thought of the overall, just like what the team has done, moves-wise this offseason, and where do you still feel like there could be additions made, or you'd like to see additions made?
I mean, I think we're always trying to get better in whatever areas we feel we need. If there's something that comes up and that makes us stronger, and it's within what we're able to do. Perry's been relentless in what he does. I mean, I've gotten texts at 3 in the morning. I've gotten calls at 5, 6 in the morning. And I think you guys all know how he works and how he goes about his business. And it's been pretty impressive to watch. The times that we've been together one-on-one, doing these things in a group, in the group setting here has really been kind of cool to be a part of. And always thinking how we can get better, what we can do, moves we can make, players move around. And I love what we've done. I think I just talked about what we did the last 2 months with what we had, and then to add on top of that, the guys that are going to be coming back from injury, also the things that we've added from outside. It's exciting to think about where we can go with this.
Do you see Renfroe in right field and Ward in left, or how do you kind of see that right now?
We've talked about both. We've talked about what it's going to mean for Wardo to move over to left. Hunter's played both, and he's played both at a high level. And I feel like Wardo played a really good right field for us. Now it's a little bigger at home on the left side. How it looks for us, I don't know yet. I think they're both comfortable in either spot. You talk to both of them, they'll do anything for the team. They both played at first base a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I know that if I were to present anything with them, they'll just do whatever what's best for the club. And that's the kind of players that we've got, which makes my job easier. But whether it's right and left, or it's vice versa with Hunter and Taylor, they're both going to be playing, and I think we're going to be really good with both of them in the lineup all the time.
Walsh and Urshela will platoon. I mean, at first, is that kind of?
Well, I mean, it could. We'll see how Walsh is after everything. All signs point to him being back at 100%. He can also play the corner, as you guys know, in the outfield. Plays a good first base. We'll see where he's at when he comes in. The luxury I have is I got a lot of different options and a lot of different bodies, and come March 28 or whatever, opening day, those decisions will probably play themselves out on the road.
With the sale of the team in progress, does that impede the process or the progress of the team in terms of acquisitions, and could that be a distraction if it doesn't take place before spring training play?
I don't think it's a distraction at all. I mean, I read the same things you guys do. I'm not part of that, but No, I don't think it's a distraction at all. If anything, what we've been able to do this off season and add, I think it's just a credit to what our ownership is right now, and he's not just going to pack up and leave us stranded on an island. And I think he still has a lot of love and care for our organization and the processes we're going through right now, and we all respect each other in that way. And it's been nice to be able to just talk about these players and the discussions we've had internally amongst ourselves on how we can get better. It's been nice to have those and not have restrictions, if you say, and we certainly haven't this offseason.
Does that process affect players at all? Do they talk about it? Do you get a sense that any of them really even think about it during the day?
I don't think so. I think it just at some point somebody else is going to be signing that big check over it. still spends the same.
As long as the amount doesn't change, right?
Yeah, and it won't. So no, I don't think it does. And Artie's been great to the Angel organization, the Angel community, and I know he takes his people. I think anybody in a high-profile position is subject to a lot of criticism, and he unjustly gets that. If you remember, he's gone out and signed some of the biggest free agents in the past, and we're just doing it a little bit different way this year. And he's always wanted to win. He's always brought us some great players. I grew up an Angel fan, as you guys know. I grew up in the area and followed it quite closely. And to just add some of the best players at this time or through the offseason, they've always done that. And Artie's always been a part of that. And the fact that we're able to do these things again right now has been important to everybody that's involved in the organization.
It's still pretty early in the off season, but as you look at the way the rest of the division is shaping up, who's moving where, DeGrom goes to the Rangers, the players that the Angels have picked up and so forth, do you think that there is a leveling up of the division, so much to say that it's perhaps one of the most competitive in baseball shaping up for 2023?
I mean, there's no doubt our division is one of the better in baseball. It's getting better each day. I'm excited to go to compete against Boch a little bit. Somebody that I've obviously been around quite a bit in my life, and our division is good. And we only have to play each other 12 times this year instead of 18 or 19 or whatever it is. So I can't worry about those things. We're not trying to compete as somebody gets somebody. Do we grab somebody else? We just got to try to make us better and what's going to help us compete towards the end of the season and put us in position to be one of those last teams standing. And what happens in our division, they're able to do certain things, we're able to do things that we can do.
Do you prefer that new schedule and not having to play 19 games in the division?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it's great for the fans of the game. The National League cities are going to get to see Mike and Shohei and the rest of the guys for every other year in their city. And yeah, I do like it. As a matter of fact, you start looking at it, and it really hasn't added much strain to where our travel is or anything like that. And I've never been one to complain about that anyway. I'm under the normal person out here. We fly first class. We stay in nice places. That stuff doesn't bother me. And but the fact that we get to see other cities and other teams, no, I think it'll be great for the game. It'll be great for everybody involved.